But all we have to do on this hand is pin wash edge highlight. That's easy. So I'll do that later. I'm really interested in like what we can do volume wise on some of this stuff. And so anytime there's a plane that shifts, I want to fuck with it. So because we already airbrushed it, let's just get into a wet glaze state. And let's see what we can do here. So we're saying this is bright here. Right? Let's get a little wet. Let's get some of the ochre. Let's get some of the brown. A little bit more of the brown. Okay. So we're saying bright toward the toe, dark toward this shelf right here. We just want to get nice and dark here. And we're keeping the paint pretty wet. And we're just popping that feeling. Now the sole of the boot, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Probably just black. But bright, dark. So I kind of want to invert it. Even though I got a bit of a tri-blend going here. So let's get some of the ochre, maybe a little of the white. Conrad, isn't that base too small? That base is real small. He's double pinned to it. So let's go with a tri-blend, kind of center. Tornado pattern. Let's get some moisture. Brown ochre. Stipple into the tide line right here. Soften it. Low opacity, a little wet. Let's get more brown. Stipple that in. A little more ochre into that tide line. And all I'm doing is manipulating the exact paint that's already there. Because we use these paints. And I'm just doubling down, rinsing the brush off a little bit, get a little bit more white ochre going. Some stipples right there. A little bit more ochre in the mix. And just kind of blend that tide line with some stippling. Like that. Okay. Asher, what's up, man? Albrecto, what's up, man? Rottweiler's playing right now. I helped him with his list last night. He said, oh, no. He's like, oh, he's dead. My Terminator's going to kill this guy. And I just reminded him, I was like, let's see if you did your combo. Did you do your litanies and no zone? Or not? He's playing his first tournament of 9th edition. He's one of my students, too, so I was helping with this last night. I told him he's going to lose the first 2 games. He's playing Tyranids right now. Okay, let's try this again. Let's get a little tornado pattern right here. Little ochre. Wet ochre. Stipple that tide line. So you see, we're just dramatizing what's already there. It's not a big deal. Now you see, it's very dark right here. So here I want to make it very bright. Okay. Now here's some straight ochre. We're going to pick up some of the brown. And just kind of going back and forth, stippling. So dark to bright, just a quick little plane shift. Let's get more brown. Right there. Now let's repeat that step. Let's get some white and ochre. Right there. A little stock ochre. Let's get a little brown. This is just transparent brown. Stipple, stipple. Stippling is your friend. And if you're new here and this looks weird and you're like, what is he doing? What we are doing is taking the airbrush work we already did on the leg, and we're taking really watered down paints that are the exact same paints, and we're strengthening the drama and manipulating it to be more volumetric. Because like doing what I'm doing now, they couldn't do that with airbrush. I was able to get a lot of that drama already established. Uh-oh. He canceled Null Zone. I'm going to tell him the bad news. I'm going to tell him the bad news. He canceled No Zone, and he's like, I'm going to get that Hive Tower now. I was like, bad news. That Hive Tower is not going to die. I was breaking it down to him because he's one of my students, been helping him with the Space Wolves in his list, but he wasn't going to be painted in time, so we switched to this gangster-ass old Ultramarine list he has, but he's going to win Best Painted probably. But he was like, oh, people say I have a good chance. I was like, let me put it this way, Mark. I can play against you right now, deliberately never shoot any of my weapons in my army, and still beat you. Like, I can beat you without killing a bottom. Like, you're focused on the wrong thing. Like, this game, killing people is how you get those primaries. How you clear zones to get into your secondaries. I can literally run a workshop on you where I do turns that are just the movement phase, and then it's your turn. And beat you. Like, forget about killing shit. Yeah, everyone can kill shit. That's how this game works. But he was stressing over his Space Wolves, and so instead I was like, why don't you just stop stressing over the Space Wolves that you haven't played yet either, and let's play the Ultramarines that you haven't played yet either, but they're fully painted. It's a gangster-ass old list. I could win some games with it, but it's definitely not premium shit. Okay, again, it's dark right here, so let's make it light, plane shift. So let's just stippling some white ochre right here. Rinse that down. Pick up some stock ochre. Keep it kind of wet. Stipple off of that. Pick up some transparent brown. Right there. So, simple non-metal metallic methodology that I preach is you don't even have to really think about it as long as you're plane shifting. You can kind of just move from panel to panel like this. And so since this panel right here is dark on this seam, I'm making sure we're bright as it butts up against it right there. And that's how we're moving around on this guy. Now, I was ambitious with how bright I got on that, but that's because I have access and I'm using this big brush. I'm going to go back in with a small brush and really pop some things out. Because the other rule is really hard edges, really solid pin washing. So let's move in right here. Now some things are kind of weird and you can just do whatever. Like right here, it's bright and dark. So you can get cute. And you can do like bright on this side. And you can go dark on this side if you want. Like that. Just stippling, keeping it kind of wet. Now as I get into the back, it's going to get harder and harder to paint. So what I'll do right here is just top panel right there. Some ochre. Here's some transparent brown. More transparent brown. Right there. Rinse it down. Let's pick up a little white ochre. Boom. Boom. Gosselini. Whenever I try non-metal metallic, my transitions are always too smooth, and it doesn't look as non-metal metallic. That's a really good point. So, real reflections are not that smooth. So, but they can be. But also, they don't need to be. And so, when you look up on a spot like right here, Goss, like these pipes, I just did a quick tri-blend and almost didn't blend them on purpose right here. Just drew lines. So a lot of times if you're in a piece of real estate that can facilitate like just straight lines, just do lines. You know? And a lot of times you don't even have to go that hard. Like I just airbrushed this hand and just did edge highlighting. I did a tri-blend here. I did a cylinder line over an airbrush. These are airbrushed. I did just a harsh cylinder line, edge highlight. Like, it's honestly pretty easy, and it doesn't have to be that blendy. And that's why I like doing my brush. That's why I like getting my brush out like I'm doing, because I could just be kind of casual and it's not super blended. Like right here, I'm gonna go maybe like some ochre right here. Maybe get some transparent brown, and I gotta be plane shifting, so it's bright up there. It's gotta be dark here, and I'm just gonna stipple right in there, like that. Plane shifting into the dark. Walking up into the ochre. Just with stippling. But I'm going to go back into dark. I'm going to try blend right here. So it's going to be just ochre in the middle. Like that. But I'm not going to go too hard there. All right, and I'm gonna treat myself. I'm gonna treat myself. Oh lordy, what's up, paint station? Halt. And I'm gonna run in and just do a little bit of pin washing. So I'm gonna take the transparent brown, a little bit of moisture. Take my 18-0 brush, semi-opaque, a little wet, and I'm gonna line things, okay? And I'm going to use some gentle brush pressure. Any line I see that I can get, I'm gonna do it. Now just lock this brown in there. Anywhere I can create separation in a panel, I'm going to do it. This is kind of tricky angle right here. I'm creating separation between those panels. And there's also little lines and architecture in here. Little fun details. And you could, you know, go real hard on the non-metal metallic and paint like each ledge and seam, but I'm not. So the transparent brown is essentially the darkest position of our gold in our workup. So I'm just boxing things out right now. There's some lines right here. Can't quite get there. Want to get a line right here. Now here in this strip, I'm going to use some ochre right there, kind of in the center. Some brown to feather it. Right there. Let that show. Reappraise. Supposed to meet my dad for lunch, but he's caught the vid. Damn, dude. Sorry to hear that. Hope he's okay. Reappraise. Sucks, man. Using the heart pull strategy to get inside those little lines. Just with our transparent brown. And just look at the sharpening that has occurred there. It's feeling better already. One of the minor strains. Yeah, that's good news though. Let's grab some ochre and white reappraise. And now let's keep it high opacity. And let's see if we can really pop some lines. Okay. Starting with the front toe here. Maybe a little bit more respect than that. So there's a bit of a bevel right here. And I want to just call attention to that with some clean lines. Okay. I want to draw like a fake line right here. Now let's grab some of the ochre and white again. Let's get a nice frame. Heart pull, high opacity, low moisture. And we're just boxing out those edges. And it's just high opacity. Do some white. Some white in the mix. Right here, I'll just do some very faint lines and some stipples right there. Ochre and white again. And more white right there. You see, it's just the lines that's gonna sell it. Just the frames. A little bit right here. Right here. Goss, your Daredevil paint video helped me with my Custodes cloaks with the reds and highlights. Although I did go against your advice and use some orange for the highlights. I mean, as long as you embedded some white in there first, it doesn't matter. The problem with going with orange is not always brighter than red. So like the part of that video, as long as you utilized it, which is being willing to use white in your red, and whatever you glaze over is fine. And I did use orange in Daredevil as well, because I glazed yellow, right? So if I took the red up to white and then glazed yellow over, what happens when yellow interacts with red? Becomes orange. Now I'm going to go back. I don't like this one line right here. Go back to the transparent brown. I'm gonna open this channel back up. I don't like that. Yeah, that's better. So we're just using some white and some ochre. Kind of feeling out the lines. I think I'm going to have to do a little bit right here. I'm going to get a little transparent brown in there to kind of make sure that line doesn't suck so bad. The angle is so hard to get into. A little bit right here.
I've been drinking Kool-Aid, jammers like I did when I was 9. 'Cause I like to pretend that
There's some detail in here I need to work on. Like that one spot is kind of weird, so I'm gonna have to work on it independently. Some transparent brown up here. It's like weird kind of latch right there. That was like ochre with brown. Goss, thank you for the follow. Some pure white stippled in. Right there as well. Now, I'm gonna run back to these boots on the front here. And doing the heart pull right here. Too easy, too easy. Let's grab a little bit of transparent brown again. Let's make sure our lines are still strong. Our channels. So all that is based off of the airbrushing. Okay, see, like we airbrushed it super quick, a little bit of lazy glazing, pow. And like that boot is definitely not supposed to be shiny when you look at the textures on it. And we got, like, I think I'll just do the soles black. That wasn't too bad though. We learned a lot. I think I learned a lot of lessons on this side. So I just treated myself to completing it so I can see what it looks like. Dragoon says, man, that looks like straight out of a comic. Thanks, man. It does. It looks like Holocaust, Age of Apocalypse, all of the Joe Madureira comic books already as a character. And I'm drawn to this type of contrast. This is like my obsession. Okay, let's see if we can do it again on this side. Very gratifying. Okay, let's take the lessons learned and see if we can ramp it up speed-wise. So again, we have just ochre, transparent brown, and white on the palette. A little bit of water because we're keeping it semi-transparent because it's already there. So what I'm going to do is plane shift so it's dark right there. So let's get some white and ochre together. Make it bright right here where it butts up against the dark. Right there. Okay. Let's take some of that excess moisture off the brush, get a little ochre back in the mix. And it's definitely very respectful. Here's some brown. And because it's so wet, it blends very easily. Heart pull strategy right here. Just a simple downstroke. Bright to dark. I'll rinse some of the brown off the brush super quick. Maybe fight a little bright back in. And I'll do the final punches with the detail work that we did just a second ago. Solid bump. Thank you so much. Exclamation point Mammoth if you want this STL for free. I think this is the weird one. We're doing the same thing. Bright up against the dark. There's some transparent brown. Some stipples right here. I'll rinse some of that off the brush. Pick up a little white into your ochre right here. Jam it back in. Pick up a little bit more ochre and just soften that line again. Right there. Now, let's take this one where it kind of meets right there and make it brighter. But that's just mostly ochre. There's some transparent brown. And it's easier to access this side. This is a faster paint because my brush is free to move in any direction. Let's go bright here. I'm not like running into the base or anything like that. I could even be a little wackier right here. There's our brown, ochre. Rinse some of that off. Let's get some white and ochre mixed together again. Some stipples right here. A little bit more moisture than that. Water's your friend here. A little bit of brown. Right there. Like I said, and I don't have to go nearly as white because I'll do it with the small brush. It's kind of like the lesson from the other side. Take a little of the transparent brown. Right there. Real easy. Sunshine Grenadier, my dude. Little ochre white right here. Little transparent brown ochre right here. Let's get that off the brush. Let's go with some straight up transparent brown. Stipple, stipple, stipple. Sewing machine stroke. Rinse, rinse, rinse. Let's get a little bit of white ochre mixed back in. Sunshine Grenadier. There we go. The red ones. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go here. The red one's the Canadian duo. Dark. Transparent brown stippling right here. And I'll get my little brush in there and do the rest. Here's the next big spot right here. Let's think about it. So it's kind of dark here. Let's go light at the bottom. How you guys doing? Sunshine Grenadier and the red ones. Stippling some ochre right here. Let's Let's rinse that off. Let's keep the ochre a little bit more pure. And then let's bring some transparent brown into the mix right here. Nice, hot, and heavy. Let's dramatize. Let's rinse all that brown off. Lazy Saturday morning, the red ones. I feel you on that. White ochre again. Get some moisture. We're using sewing machine stipples right here. Force that blend. Again, I'll do the rest with the little brush. Now, what we'll probably do right here is, it's bright here, dark. Let's go with right here. Back to transparent brown though. So there's a little bit of a tri-blend going on right there. Stipples. Back to ochre. Back to white. Poor fucking Mark. He's getting destroyed by nids for the first time, and he's like, I think this guy's just lying to me. Like, no, man, it's because I don't even think they're using. I think they're using old nids, no balance sheet. I'm like, so he's got like 12 hive guard. Just take all your models at the table. I think it's Crusher Stampede. His first game against Tyranids. That's Rottweiler. There we go. So we're going for a little tri-blend right there. And you see how we're just using the airbrush that's already there as most of to do all the heavy lifting. I'll just do a light transition up here where you can barely see it. Bring some transparent brown in right here. But we'll do the rest of it with detailing. So like it can be that half-assed. That's what we learned. Okay. Let's get the transparent brown ready to go. Dragoon, I play against Quins on Thursday night. It was rough. Oh yeah, Quins are nasty. Turned off all your rerolls. That's why I don't. That's why I don't even use rerolls. I don't believe in rerolls. I used to just roll dice, no rerolls, like a grown up. Back in third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh edition. So I just like fuck it. So semi-opaque, a little moisture. Run the transparent brown in, create borders and separation. It's the same transparent brown we've been using the whole time. It's the darkest position of our gold. And we're just creating frames. And even if it gets a little wily, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I just told him, Demeki too. I was like, new nids, pretty hard, pretty OP. Oh, old nids, no data slate with Hive Guard, more OP. Crusher Stampede, more OP. Pick your nid poison, bro. See, just find those borders, find those recesses, and just make the image sharper. And what makes your reflective effect stand out is how dark you're willing to go and how bright you're willing to go. For a lot of metals, I'm willing to go to black. Let's see what he said. But he's pretty sad. I'm basically illustrating to him, like, don't beat yourself up. You don't even know how the game works yet. I don't want him getting salty and quitting. I don't want him getting in that mindset where he thinks he's being manipulated by his opponent because he doesn't understand anything. Which is easy to do. All he understands is like, well, my Terminators are really powerful, right? He killed them all. This guy must be lying. Yo, Aquila, what up, player? JJ Whitesnake in the chat, the world famous comic. God damn. This fucking made my leg fall asleep. Oh my god, I'm fat. FD from Blumenfrond. Thanks for the follow, brother. You guys see JJ Whitesnake? Did you guys kick it with him last night? After the raid? Oh my god, the fucking obesity is flaring up. Alright, we're just gonna run another pin wash right here, guys. Transparent brown. There we go. And this is how we're going to create that effect and make it look like it's potentially shiny metal. So you frame all the borders out anywhere you can. Create that contrast. Just using the same brown. Very respectful. There's some lines right here. Let's cut those in. So you see all the dark stuff sharpening the image. Now on this side, we did all the bright stuff too, you see? Ping, 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 ping. And that's the effect. Oh my god. JJ Whitesnake says, some folks were hanging out. It was fun. LT says, yeah, for a while. At JJ Snake. We'll eventually learn that I'm mostly a troll. Ooh, was LT hurting your feelings, JJ Whitesnake? JJ Whitesnake. LT is literally, he's one of our mods, and his subtitle is The Troll. And Love Minis is our other mod, and she's the beast. She's amazing and endearing, and she's the best. LT's a piece of shit. Babble Rouser, obesity is flaring up. Quite the comedian yourself today. I just speak truth, dog. All right, let's flip it back. Let's do the edge highlights. Let's pop this shit out. We got JJ Whitesnake, the famous comedian, in here. We're gonna teach him how to paint some stuff. So, JJ, all of this yellow shit, it's just these three paints. It's more complicated than that, but also just as simple. Yellow, ochre. I picked the paint to make it darker, and I picked the paint to make it brighter. Real simple. You don't need to know that much about art to understand that. And so we use our airbrush to build some really ghetto fades. You can see the hand, same thing. That's airbrushed, but this hand looks different than that hand. That's because all I did was make dark lines darker and bright edges brighter. But I used the same paints, the same dark stuff and the same bright stuff. That's how you find respect anytime you can do any kind of painting. So now what's important to do is reinforce the shiny parts here. So I'll find the ochre, which is probably brighter than a lot of this real estate. So it'll be a nice, safe, bright zone. High opacity, low moisture on my little brush. I'll use the tip of my brush and pull straight back right here. Just put a nice, strong line right there. And this is pretty much just pure ochre. I'll put a nice line right here. I'll put some white into the ochre. And I'll make sure I don't have too much on the brush. And I'm just going to run a line back on this side as well. And what I'm doing is creating this illusion that this junk is shiny. It's an effect. It's quite literally not shiny. And we're going to embed some of the bright stuff into the ochre here. I'll even grab some pure white. Almost pure white. Still some ochre on the brush. And the challenge here is that this sculpt is not meant to be this way. Like, he's a molten lava rock monster, and he's coming out of lava, and all his shit's all melty and shit. He's definitely not fucking glistening and shiny. But a lot of times I take that kind of artistic challenge where I want to sculpt the image into my own image using really dramatized contrast. And I want to pull out more detail than might be even there. Now, this guy is highly detailed 3D print. It's just that his ledges and all this detail, maybe it's not as sharp as the image is telling you because I've created that illusion through just making dark stuff dark and bright stuff bright. I'm a very basic ass artist. White Snake says, I remember shooting the shit with LT yesterday. Babble Rouser. The best comics always do. Always do what? Tell poop jokes? Because I think that's the highest form of comedy. What JJ says, I'm fat on the inside. My man is tall and thin. Babble Rouser. See, that's funny. Babble Rouser's like, I feel you on that, but also on the outside. Babble Rouser. Natural comic right here. JJ's like, I like to think that all these warriors are having the same chats with each other before battle. Dude, before we go out there, how did you get that color on your gloves? I like that headcanon. That's like fourth wall headcanon for your internal narrative for your minis. That's a funny bit. Get some right there. Real simple. Now I'm just going to rapid fire. And when you're doing this effect, dark must oppose light, and don't be afraid to frame the shit out of everything with really bright lines. Now on these panels, we're only going to do the bottom shelf. Like this. Which we are basically telling you that light is just catching that bottom shelf. I'm going to add a little bit more white to the mix and pop this corner out right here. Right there. Maybe even more white. Right there. Right there. And see how it's just suddenly looking kind of shiny, like this illusion? LT says you should have JJ Whitesnake as a guest on the podcast. Level up your poop humor and would you rather? Oh my god. Yes. JJ Whitesnake on our Wargaming podcast. We've been doing for years. Pretty much not an episode has gone by in over 300 episodes that poop hasn't come up. Talladega Nights reference hasn't come up. We think we're fucking hilarious talking about poop and shit. See, I'm just gonna dramatize that one. Pow, 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 pow. Look at that. God, this shit's so easy. God, painting is so fucking easy. Now the tricky part is I want to do an inner field highlight right here. So heart pull, tip of brush, light brush pressure, go. Mostly ochre. Right there. Get way more white in the mix. Rotate, look for that same heart drag right here. Kind of frame it out. Ping. Hello, Ricky Bobby. Yeah. That's right, JJ. I mean, not a day in my life has gone by that I haven't quoted that movie in some capacity, or Step Brothers. Babble Rouser, got an 8-year-old. Poop is the #1 topic of conversation every single day, Babble Rouser says. I must have an 8-year-old as well. JJ says I was a member of the 24-hour fitness here in Hollywood. That place, scam. God, I still get emails. And one day, there was a huge poop in the urinal. The image has lived with me for too long. I've got some urinal poop stories, bro. I used to do maintenance at a RV resort in South Florida in Homestead, which is like their whole way they made money was during race week for Homestead 500. Bruh. I've seen some shit. I did a lot of construction and maintenance and stuff, man. I have seen some poop. I can understand why that would be very traumatizing. It is. Bubba Bucket says, is that Pro Krill Golden Yellow? No, it's Ochre. I'm in a very desaturated palette here, but I will resaturate it here in a moment. Just be a little patient. I'll accelerate this. Let's get some more white on the tip here. Now that I got a little out of bounds right there, so just go back in time, find the values that respect this zone right here, and just lower the opacity and just kind of work a little filter over that fuck up. Just kind of disperse it. Okay, let's see if we can get here. Rotate. Let's look for some nice clean heart pulls right here. This is tricky because I don't really have a clear path. You gotta remember that your hand has to move down. Woo, that's tricky. Some of those lines aren't my best lines, okay? I'm not gonna lie. Viking Teabagger got a message from a missus the other day while I was at work that her son had put his hands down his pants, pulled out his fingers with poop on them, and then silently panicked and then immediately wiped it on the couch. Mrs. said she didn't want to be a mom anymore. Damn. 68 months. Thank you for the resub. Viking Teabagger. God damn. Woo. Temeki, bro, I don't know why, but every deployment I went on, somebody always shit in the shower. I have a shower shitting story as well. JJ Whitesnake, oh shit. You just gave me a flashback. When I was 16, I was a stock boy at Walmart, and dude rushed into our back stock room with exploding diarrhea, a customer. So the stock kid had to clean it up, of course. I'm sorry that happened to you, JJ Whitesnake. That's fucked up. Meat Dominator, thank you for the resub. And we're just going to do our best to get these final few lines locked in. And I'm going to have to do some smoothing here because I definitely got some really chunky ass lines. But I'm going to put some white in first. So I'm embedding a little bit more hype. My angles are off, that's the problem. Okay, now I do gotta smooth some of that out, like I said. So let's again find the thing that respects it. Let's get a little bit of transparent brown. Lower the opacity and let's work that tide line right there and just fuzz out the shittiness. Of some of those lines that are just so chunky. A little bit more transparent brown. It's probably good enough. They can get away with that. We'll run a nice seam of transparent brown right here. Right along the bottom. Rotate it back. That's good, I think. Let's get this part right here. You see just pure transparent brown right in that gutter. And we're gonna have to paint the sole of that boot at some point. But check it out. Let's resaturate it like I said I would. So what we're gonna do is now gonna grab some transparent yellow. Let's get a little puddle of it down here. And I'm going to use that with just some pure water for now. Let's just get some pure water right here. And we're going to just lightly filter some of the high points with this yellow. And so it'll snap, okay? So we're just going to kind of brush it right in there to the midfield. So it's just going to filter that zone and still have all its value information. And you know, we're not like repainting the whole thing. We're definitely target locking the bright spots. And it's not going to really change too much about the browns, but it will absolutely cling to the brighter stuff. And you might even want to run this on some of your seam highlights to yellow them up. You see? Look at that shift. So instead of like just painting, trying to blend yellow in, and you guys know how nightmarish that is sometimes, just do the ochre, brown, white desaturation combo. Come back in for a quick round of resaturation. Oh no, put my finger all over this mess. You see, look at that. Much golder, more dynamic. Very low opacity, but it has lots of punch, the transparency. And on these big, flat, volumetric surfaces that I've spent so much time on, really pays off to inject a little bit more complexity into the surface, right? On the little stuff, you don't really have to worry about it that much. But you see, bow. Now, that's just the high points. A good gold should also have a little orange embedded in it, right? So right now, we're just, the dark is coming from brown, the bright's coming from white, and a desaturated yellow like ochre is our midfield. So we want to bring some serious warmth back to the gold. Shout out to Whiter. Zambi's in chat. Another superstar joining us tonight. So now, again, let's get some of that pure water, some transparent orange. Take some of that transparent orange. You can cut it with some of the yellow to show it some respect. But we're going to take some of this selectively into some of the shadow. So it's going to put a little orange feeling into some of the brown. And here where it's a little wider of a surface, I'm going to stipple it into the yellow. Like so. So you get a nice little orange hue to it. And again, it's very transparent, so it's going to take on all the brown information and just kind of orange it up. I'll water that down, get a little bit more yellow right here and stipple the yellow in. And I'm putting a little bit more love into this, mainly because of how big it is, how much surface area there is. Rotate back. Zambies, what are you working on? Got the Meet Zambies at Adepticon. Nice little orange filter. There you go. Real simple. Now, before we do a whip session, let me just take a quick second to cut that boot sole in with some black, just because I'm tired of looking at it like that. It always fucks with my brain when it's out of focus like that. So it's just some coal black right here. It's my number 2. Yes, it's fine. Some raw coal black. And I'm carefully going to paint the boot with the pure opacity, raw dogness of the black. And I'm doing a heart pull. Very careful. Okay, I'm going to be considering the wet edge. And I'm going to work off the wet edge here before it gets dry and fucked up. Dragging back to my heart. Always more capable of making straight lines when you work with your bone structure like this. Because now I'm barely moving my hand. Let's connect the dots around the back of the heel. There's a little spot way back here, you can see it. Kind of have to break the rules a little bit. But I wanted to get that that sole done, because it's just like fully out of focus with like just random yellow overspray down there, right? And so we have to still detail the red there on that boot, So we're getting this whole side done. So we'll do the yellow here as well. Then we'll leave the red for later. And then we'll jump right over to the other side. We still have an hour and 20 minutes left, so we'll do a quick whip session and jump back on and try to spend a full hour and try to get the other side done. But pretty dope, right? First, it's such a big piece in how much brush blending we've been having to do on this guy. I feel like we're doing good. This is volume 6. So 12 hour, it'll be 12 hours of painting to get this guy to right now. I think we're at like 11 hours of painting on this guy. So I think that's a pretty reasonable time sink, and I really do take pride in the procedure of how to do something like this at that speed level. It's really just the procedure. We just got that boot looking sick. Now we got to make this thing sick. These shapes are sometimes a little weirder, but you don't really have to overcomplicate it if you don't want to. So, for example, there is a plane. So if I'm following the rules, and I just airbrushed it, right? Ochre, transparent brown, white. So if we want to follow the rules, okay, in a very simple way, what we can do is just embed a little bit more transparent brown here, and it's very wet and loose. So I'll make sure it's nice and dark down there, and while it's very wet, I'll just stipple off of that wet edge. And it's like I said, I call this wet glazing because it's not wet blending. The paint's too wet. Wet blending is kind of a dumb descriptor. Good wet blending is blending while the paint is uncured. So you want to have like the minimum moisture to get that going, because otherwise the paint isn't opaque enough to do what you want. Here I'm using a lot of moisture to get those easy blends and those fuzzes and those blurs, and it's not very opaque, but it will be enough because I already have these paints laid out from the airbrush step. So I've re-dramatized that very fast. Now, the rules of plane shifting mean I have to kind of invert that. So on this side, I need to have it brighter down here. So I need to kind of repaint it. So I'm a little bit more opaque here. That's a little white and a little ochre. And now I'm going to start embedding pretty roughly into that wet blend or that wet seam with some stipples. Some transparent brown. I'm going to let more transparent brown creep in. And there's a lot of paint infiltration on the tip of the brush right now. Now I'm going to rinse all that off. Pick up a little bit more transparent brown so it's more aggressive, and just stipple that in right here. You see, it's a crossfade, right? Bright must oppose dark. That's the rules. Anytime you shift planes, that's typically the rule. Now, it's not a tri-blend, it's very basic. Let's pick up a little bit more white while it's still wet enough. Throw a little bit of white down here. A little bit more ochre to soften that. Right there. Now there's trim on this, so I'm gonna and it's a big enough trim that I think I can do something fancier on it. So our trim right here should also follow the rules. So I'm gonna get some ochre down on it real quick. See that? And let's grab some transparent brown and make sure it's dark here, so it's plane shifting off of that. See? Stipple right against that seam. Rinse that off. Pick up a little ochre and a little white. And let's get it to be a little brighter down here. See that? And we're going to have to embed some dark lines here in a minute. Now this side we can invert it. So a little ochre. I'm going to just lay the ochre down first like I did on the other side. Now up at the top where it shifts, you see it's dark here in this panel, so it has to be bright here. Plane shifting. A little bit more white. See that? Rinse it down. Let's bring the transparent brown back in. There you go. Now, since I have a little transparent brown, I'm going to stipple inside this huge, jagged battle damage and make it darker in the inside. I'm also going to take the transparent brown and catch this seam right here using the tip of my brush. Right there. Rinse that down. Just pick up a little ochre, a little white. Now we're going to need to put a nice heart pull right here. That's tricky. Let's see if I can trace that. I can. Yo, Sunshine Grenadier, my dude. Double Yo Dogs every Saturday. Sunshine Grenadier, the legend. Sunshine, check it out. We're going to take a lot of white into the ochre mix. Keep it high opacity. Can I get some exclamation point hyphy in the chat? And we're going to run a heart pull right here. Right here. We're going to get even more white, Sunshine Grenadier. We're gonna reestablish our tracer technique. Hold your breath, swing it from right to left. Right there. Reinforce. We're gonna do a little bit more ochre. Gonna go down a step, and we're gonna do a stipple on the bottom seam of this battle damage, bottom seam, like so, to bring it out. Now, since I'm in this brighter spectrum, let's go down here. You see there's some really jagged edges here. We're going to get a little bit more ochre than white down here. Now we got to respect it more, Sunshine Grenadier. So we're going to bring some brown back into the mix where it's dark. And run our heart pull right there. And right here. And so that's just for safety. Now we're going to bring more ochre and white into the mix. Now that I have that safety line. Get a little brighter. Right there. Right there. Get Get that rinsed off real quick. Exclamation point, high fee, sunshine grenadier. Thank you for so much for supporting me and finding value in my work, man. Real minion, thank you for the follow. Let's grab some white and some ochre. See if we can pop this out a little further. Right there. Right there. Ping, ping. Okay, let's see if I can get this right there. And let's see if I can do a kind of a fake line right here. Right up against the armor. That'll ride. That'll ride. There you go. Hey, man. Thanks, dog. Sunshine Grenadier. So that's a quick plane shift crossfade, right? Bright, dark, bright. Just inverted. Frame everything. Very easy to do. That's basically the... And if it was a sword, it would be bright, dark, bright. It'd be a tri-blend crossfade. Take him to Suplex City, Chaos Kev, you know. Chaos Kev, I'm going to dedicate this yellow to you. Loving the workup on this. Thank you, Chaos Kev. Can I get some strong man love in the chat? Chaos Kev, let's take some of that transparent yellow. And let's lightly stipple that into the high point here. To provide a yellow filter. The high point here. Let it just walk into the midtone. If you want to bring a little bit on some of the more desaturated edge highlighting, you can go for it right here. You see, we just yellowed that up substantially. Take a little transparent orange. Interior yellow. Moisten it. And we're going to just send some orange into right about where the brown turns into ochre. So we're going to get a nice little orange filter in that area. I'm going to stipple right out the yellow right there. So breathe a little orange, breathe a little yellow back in there. Pow! Look at that. We teach, of course, non-metal metallics in our 201 curriculum as an effect, but it is predicated on your ability to utilize the techniques. So a lot of the techniques we're using right now are glazing, wet blending combined, paint washing, edge highlighting. So you got to have a solid grasp of those techniques in order to be able to do this. So a lot of people, they come to me to like teach me how to not do non-metal metallic. And then I'd be like, okay, we're going to do it like this. And they're like, well, how do you do that? And I was like, how do you wet blend? How do you glaze? Oh, shit, we got to do my whole lesson plan, dog. You know what I mean? Okay, so we still have 46 minutes left. Shout out to Chaos Kev, Sunshine Grenadier. Now, let's see if that's enough time to take the lessons we learned on this leg to this leg. Now, this leg, I've beaten this leg up because of the way I've been holding this guy. So we're going to do our best, okay? So let's see if we can just bang it out, okay? Got some water here, got some ochre, got some white. A little too wet. Right there. Ochre, transparent brown. So I'm dramatizing the toe. with more white. And I'm going to send a lot of transparent brown right here to dramatize that. Some stipples like that. So much darker in the recess, a little brighter on the toe. I'll get the rest with the edge highlight technique. Okay. I might actually steal just a little bit more white in there. There we go. So I'm not worried about desaturating it because you see how we resaturate. Now as we move up here, here's a little white. Stipple right across the seam. We're going for a tri-blend. Here's some ochre. Here's some ochre. Let's take some transparent or transparent brown. I'm a little bit thicker because I'm having to repaint some of the paint that I've wiped off. So I'm a little bit more opaque, a little closer to wet blending than wet glazing. Because I'm also doing a twofer here, repairing and blending. Okay. Transparent brown, ochre, right off of that. A little more transparent brown. A little bit more ochre right here. Just using some straight stippling right here. Just rinse that down. Pick up a little bit more white, a little bit wetter. And I'm going to stipple that again. Right here. Touch of the ochre, a little bit of moisture. I think I need to get just a little bit more mid-tone in right here. Because there was definitely some resin showing through down here. So I had to really like lay it on thick right there. Yajin, 40K, what's up? What's up? Okay, so we set it up pretty good right there. Let's just move quick, because I think we can move way quicker than that. So here's some white and ochre. Right here. Transparent brown. Right there. A little bit more transparent brown. Okay, rinse and repeat. White and ochre. Heart pull, kind of wet. Transparent brown. Stipple right up against that wet tide line. More transparent brown. Plane shift, right? There you go. And I'll catch the rest with the little brush. So some ochre and some highlight right here. So let's go with bright right here. Stipple, 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 stipple. A little bit more ochre. And again, I'm not worried about desaturation here because like there's brown and white desaturation because of how we're going to resaturate it. Okay, let's grab some moisture. I don't want too much white though when I'm picking up transparent brown. Transparent brown, ochre right here. Stipple down. Catch more transparent brown. Pow. Real quick, give me 1 second, guys. I forgot I was supposed to open the blinds in the bedroom at 12. Let me go check on Bonet. Back. That's the alarm clock. The alarm clock is open the blinds. Open the blinds at noon, which I forgot to do. Where did I put my papers? There it is. Meme overlord, as the orc would say. That deer is a huge stick. Yep, I'm probably gonna have to finish the stick on the webinars because I want to move on to a new project on Tuesday. So we're just bringing in some hype right there. And it's just ochres and whites. Stipple right off. And we'll come in with the little brush later. We'll go with some ochre up top. Transparent brown on the bottom. And you'll notice that the commitment to how soft the blends are is kind of a exercise in futility, because once you get the pin washes and edge highlights in, as long as the blend's in the right places, it doesn't matter how smooth they are when you're talking about a pseudo non-metal metallic. Okay, so right here, let's go with white and ochre. More ochre in the brush. Stipple off that wet edge. Just grab some transparent brown right here. Stipple right into that moisture. More transparent brown back here. Let's rinse the brush. Get the infiltrating ochre off of it. Let's just stipple in more brown. Right there. Now right here, let's go dark brown at the bottom. Dark brown at the top. Let's grab some ochre. Blend that, stipple that into the midfield. And this works. Like I said, I know you're probably tired of me saying it, but when you already build the bones of it with your airbrush super quick, this technique is so easy because my coverage is not being called into question. It's just how I'm dramatizing the blends. Let's get a little white in the mix. Actually, let me rinse. Ochre white. Stipple right here. Rinse that down. Grab some stock ochre with some brown. Smooth that out. Smooth that out. If you're new here, Detox, exclamation point Mammoth. You can get a free STL of this model right now. We're going to smooth this strip out with the brown. Grab some of the highlight. Here. Here. And we'll catch the rest of that with the small brush. Lessons learned. Where can we put the shortcuts? From the other boot. And we did a lot of shortcuts on this one. Okay. Let's flip it in here. Let's reach in. This is a trickier spot. So let's get some ochre and a touch of the white. Start right here. Here. Let's get more ochre, a little water. More ochre, less water. Stipple on that seam. Let's pick up some transparent brown. Just brush that transparent brown right in. Again, this transparent brown, ochre, and white are exactly what I used in the airbrush steps. Okay. And I'll use the little brush to reinforce any highlight in there. So there's some highlight right there. There's some transparent brown. Stipple that right in. Rinse that infiltrating ochre off the brush. Pick up some raw dog transparent brown. Just jam some in right here. Stipple, stipple, stipple. Pick up a little ochre. Right there, rinse it down. Let's pick up a little white. Jam a little bit of white right here. A little bit of ochre. Just stipple off of that. Get a little moisture. Brown. And let's just kind of disperse right here. And we'll catch the rest with a little brush. Move, move, move. Shortcut City, guys. Okay, let's try it right here. We're going to go bright on top. We're going to stipple right here. We're going to get some straight brown on the bottom. And this is a real hard access point because of the spear. So I'm really just slapping it on. Just really just doing my best. As it wraps around here, we have to make some decisions. Transparent brown. Transparent brown. Let's get some of that highlight back in. Down the center. A little bit of moisture, a little bit of brown. Now, I feel like I may have slacked too much here, guys. This might have been too much of a shortcut. Okay, it's not bad. We're good. Now, up on the cut right here is going to be tricky, so let's get some brown laid out now. See that shit? I'm like, barely can see it. But if I can barely see it, then I'm not going to worry about it too much. But I am going to get that dramatization going. Okay? Let's let that set up. Let's jump on this thing real quick. Let's do what we did last time. We're going to go with the flow. So here's some War Pigment says, on call, shift work sucks. Damn, missed most of the show, man. Glad you're here. So we're going to do a quick just re-dramatization of what's already on the knee. Here's some white. Some stippling right here. So we're just making sure it's like the more ball-in version of its already existing transition. The knees are real important to the selling the effects way more important than the boots. Now here, this is where I've really lost a lot of paint on that seam right there. I'll have to fix that when we do the edge highlights. A little bit more transparent brown. Gotta be willing to take it to a real dark place. Okay, now here, now we got to invert it here. So I got to be a little bit more gangster. So we got a crossfade. Here's the transparent brown here in the top. Let it blend in. Some stippling. Rinse it down. Get more transparent brown. More ochre. Rinse it down. Stipple off it right here. Maybe a touch more moisture than that. Maybe a little bit of brown. There we go. Rinse it down. Pick up a little bit of white. A bit of ochre. Okay, so we got the bones of the crossfade. Let's rinse the brush and we'll see if we can, with all these shortcuts we embedded in it, let's see what we can do. Okay, first things first, 27 minutes left. Let's grab transparent brown, raw dog, mostly raw dog. Let me get a little moisture. Transparent brown right here. So we're going to draw our lines real quick. Using the tip of our brush and the heart pull and putting it right in all the seams that exist on the model. And framing everything out, pretty much Boolean artificial contrast to the model. Sharpening the image. Right there. There's some little panel lines right here. There's little holes in the armor. Right there. Switch down to our 18-0 brush. Seam there. Seam there. There. Right there. Look at all that. And so, like I said, we cut a lot of corners, and I think it's going to ride. Okay, lots of good line work right there. Okay, let's get to the front of the boot now. Pretty hot line right there. Maybe too hot. We'll see. Boom. Rotate like this. There's a panel line right there. Let's rotate in here. This is the tricky angle again. Right there. Now we're gonna do our best on this side. Not easy. Trying to stay in that heart pull position. Sometimes I'm going to break the rules though. Just roll with it. Oof. How are we doing on time? 23 minutes. Arami, what's up, man? Ugh, terrible lines. This is a hard angle. Whining. Gonna whine about this the whole time. All right. So we have laid down some real loose, dirty pin washing here. Okay, so we're trying to make it look like this, but faster. Okay, let's go for it. Let's start off here. Let's grab some ochre, some white. And we are going to just jump right in, okay? Using high opacity, low moisture, pin washing, or edge highlighting technique. Okay. Now we're just gonna finish those few lines out by going whiter. And jumping around, you see that? Even whiter. Okay, let's move on. High opacity, low moisture. Let's get more white. Bottom shelf. Right there. Okay, right here. Added more ochre back into it for safety reasons. whiter for pop. Right there. Demeki, you thinking what I'm thinking? Aim for the bushes. That's right, baby. Okay, here we go. These are tricky. There we go. So we're just popping everything out. And I feel like all that shortcutting worked. That line got a little wacky, so I'm going to grab a little brown back in the mix. Soften it. I'm really pushing respect right now, like I'm being a little ambitious just to be faster. Let's get a little bit more white to pop some of this out. Let me grab a little bit more transparent brown. Let's rebuild this pen wash right here. Get a little bit. Let's get some almost white. So that's pretty much no ochre in the mix at all. There you go. Anybody who's new here, remember you gotta @ me or I'm not gonna see it while I'm painting. There we go. Let's rotate like this. Heart pull strategy on display right there. Fake line right there. Fake line right there. Let's get a little bit more white. Stipple right there. Let's stop before we fuck up and get more respect established. And some brown into that mix. And now we can upgrade. Bubble buckets. I just bought a box of canned Terminators and I was wondering if you had any recommendations for loadouts. wait for the new codex. That's literally about to drop. They may change everything. You don't know. Old tech used to be that you could just do everyone with combi weapons and lightning claws. But that might not be the case here real soon. But lightning claws are always a great choice. A single lightning claw, and a shooty weapon. Always a good choice these days for keeping it cheap and effective. They're just as good at shooting as they are close combat, if not better, depending on how they change the rules on shooting for them. And going in with a nice deep strike shooting surprise is always pretty good with Terminators, these Chaos. Especially Sinesh with their stratagems. Oof! I nailed that one. That was tricky. Getting those edges, guys. Now, I did make some mistakes because I was moving so fast. With only 12 minutes left. Mostra Morty, what up, player? Inua, do you mind defining respect? Yes. So, everything I'm doing exists on a spectrum between these colors, dark to bright. So, when you're jumping into a piece of real estate, you just kind of want to figure out what is a respectful way to highlight this using those paints, because the more you disrespect it, you're just making it aggressively bright. The more your mistakes are hard to fix, and the more they look like mistakes. So a lot of times, I will throw some brown back in the mix to get closer to where I'm highlighting, but still a highlight, rather than just going super hard. Cover it in my lesson plan too. I do teach classes, !1 class. The first lesson, many of my students are actually in chat, is all about that respect and how to use your airbrush. Okay, so like I got out of bounds right here. So I have to kind of fix that mistake. But if I'd respected it a little bit more, I wasn't so ambitious, it probably would have rode. It would have probably been fine. Let's get a little bit of pure white. Right there. Let's find that respect. Downgrade so it's not pure white anymore. Right there. Keep that respect as I highlight right here. So there's a lot more ochre in it than white. Now we'll ramp it up so that it has more white in it, and this will play off that line we just threw down. I'm gonna rinse all that off my brush. Get some straight white right here. And we're going to use the nearly white and just kind of put a line in right here. Okay, not bad. We have 9, almost 10 minutes left. Let's see what we can do on this side. This side is the nightmare side. It is not easy to get my brush in there under that spear. Already, oh my god, look at this shit. Already two fucking mistakes. I'm gonna have to just brush some transparent brown back in there. Right there, we'll come back to it though. Not gonna hyper focus on it. I'm gonna do my best right here. That spear is really in my way. So I'm just really using my peepers right now, focusing down on these heart pulls. There we go. Nostra Morty, some friends gifted me a bunch of Black Templars for my birthday. Oh shit, yeah. Wait, is today your birthday, Nostra Morty? I think it's birthday Yo Dogs for Nostra Morty. 8 minutes. Can we do it? I don't think we can. Let's find a respect by throwing some ochre and brown back in there. It's very dark here. Rinse that down. 46, 500 birthday Yo Dogs from Nostra Morty. Here's some white. Let's see if we can just pop a couple of seams. I'm not gonna lie, I think I might have gone a little too yellow on this leg. So I'm gonna have to make sure I keep that leg in the same vein. Some of those lines are fucking straight, not tight. And I'm gonna have to see if I can fuzz them out. But not bad. I think that'll ride. Now we just need to get our seam right here, so we can do a tracer here, I think. That's tricky because I've wiped so much paint off of that by holding it. So I'll just put a strip right back in to see if that'll dry. Oh shit, Kels. Is that Kelsey? I want an Easter egg. I want an Easter egg. Is today Easter? Or is tomorrow Easter? I don't fucking know how Easter is.
30 seconds in, hit him with an F5. Hit it back so hard he feel it in the next life. Pull him over that shoulder just like a knapsack.
Easter's a Sunday, I guess. Is that how that shit works? Is Easter the resurrection of a zombie day, or which one is that? Let me get some love right there for Kelsey. It is indeed double yo dogs. Thank you so much, brother. Let's see if I can quickly. I haven't done the pin washing yet, but I will have to in a second. I'm being highly disrespectful, but if I don't make mistakes, it's fine, right? So here, I'm going to bring some ochre in. Rinse it. Transparent brown up here. Invert it. Put some transparent brown in this hole. Put some transparent brown in this seam right there. Here. 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 Let's get a little ochre. Here, rinse it. Pull some white in. How much time left? 2.5 minutes. Oh, we got so close. Grimicus, thank you so much. Do I look like an Easter scientist, LT? No, you don't. Thank you so much. We're getting close. I don't know. Let me finish it. Hammer rinse. Let's get some pure white. There we go. Pow, son. Reapray. You should have painted an egg today, I guess. Reapray, thank you so much. Gonna get some strong man love for Reapray. Hope everything's okay with your dad. We are definitely in overtime because of Reapray. Can I get some exclamation point hyphy in chat for Reapray? Have a few extra seconds on the clock. Let's see if I can get this done. Thank you, thank you. We're just bringing some pure white in. The knee is like possibly the most important part. Let's get a little ochre in there to respect that better. And there is the drippy parts, and we got to get underneath this.
Hey, are you Dirty Mike and the
Battle
boys?
damage.
Your cast, rub your dicks on the car as you run away. We are gonna have sex in your car. It will.
Templar coming in, resetting the overtime clock. We're fully in overtime. 2 minutes 20 seconds. Exclamation point Prius or exclamation point soup hashtag Dirty Mike Life. Templar, thank you, brother. Appreciate your support, homie. Templar, how you doing, man? Right there. So we might have time to get the final filter down. So we got the knees, and so you see how yellow that is? Ooh, it's so yellow. I might have been a little ambitious with that yellow.
You gotta get swifty.
Overtime clock, 1 minute 20 seconds. Can't we do
Time to
it?
get swifty. Uh-oh. You gotta get swifty. Oh, yeah. Take off your pants and your panties. Shit on the floor.
1 minute, 11 seconds. Everyone was stopping to look at my death guard on that game night. Improved so much. Thank you for your lessons, man. That makes me happy, brother. Thank you, Reapray. Let's see if we can stipple in some yellow right here. We're just stippling in thin down transparent yellow. Right up against the brightest points to yellowify them. And I think I was a little heavy-handed on the other foot. Got real yellow, so fuck it. That's where we are. Transparent yellow. Shapow! We only have 20 seconds left, though. Fuck. Once I get this boot done, that is it. Thank you guys for your support today. And I think that is the conclusion right there. I don't want to leave the boot in a half done glaze, so I'm going to just ride it out. Temple, I'm so happy that you got to receive some validating praise for the sick death guard you've been working on. I'm gonna have to go through and make this more yellow up here to kind of simulate how yellow I took it down there. Actually, I don't even know if I put yellow on this yet. Okay, yeah. I just haven't put yellow on this yet. That's why. Okay, let's just do it right here. Drag some yellow into those high points. Drag some yellow in there, and see, that's where the saturation comes from. I did indeed go a little heavy-handed. And we did inject orange in there, but I think it's going to be fine. Buy viewers, followers, and primes. Yourfollows.com. Somebody write that down. I need to get that shit. Oh, he's gone. What happened, dude? I was trying to get famous. Yeah, does he accept Yo Dogs?